Welcome once again. In this video, we are going to make changes on Sheet Lemonade. We are continuing from Excel Project 1 for WHI1040 students. Changes on Sheet Lemonade. Okay, the first instruction says in cell A1, edit the cell so that the contents read sales for January 2021. Let's go to cell A1. Make sure that you are in cell A1, or to make sure you can type it in the name box. Press enter. Sales for January 2021. We start typing sales for January 2021. Then enter. Okay, let's go to the next instruction. It says copy the contents stored in A1 to A33. Edit the cell so that the contents read sales for February 2021. Okay, let's go back to cell A1 to copy the contents. Select A1, hold Control, press C on your keyboard. In the name box, type A33. Press enter, hold Control and V to paste. Double tap in the cell and start editing so that it reads sales for February 2021. Then enter if you're done. Okay, let's go to the next instruction. It says in cell A2, clear the contents in this cell. Type the words last updated. Let's go to cell A2. Quickly in the name box, type A2, enter. Go to Home tab. Under Editing, clear contents. Then type last updated, semicolon, and a colon. Press enter. We're done. Let's go to the next instruction. It says cell F35, type the decimal value 0.5. So I'm going to go to cell F35 and type 0.5. Then control and enter. Why control and enter is because I want to insert this data in this cell and keep the cell selected. Why? You will see in the next instruction. Range F36 through F54, fill F35 through to F36 through F54 to display the same decimal value that is stored in F35. Because I'm going to use the fill handle, that is why I kept the cell selected, because I'm going to use that cell to use the fill handle. So let's go back to the spreadsheet. I will double tap. It will stop at F54. Why does it stop at F54? It's because the information that is from E35 is stored until E54. So if I double tap, it follows the one before it. If I double tap, you will see that it stopped at F54. But if there was something in the cell E55, it would stop until E55. It would go until F55. But because there's nothing, it stops in line with this one before it. Okay. Let's go back to the instructions. It says in cell C, to use a function to display the current system date. The current system date. Let's quickly C2. We are going to use a function. Whenever you see an instruction says use a function to display the current system date, just know that you are going to use the today function. It's equal to, then you press today, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, then enter. You can see it says 2023-09-06, of which is the data that we can see here. Let's go back to instructions. It says use a function that explicitly uses cell range B4. Because I'm going to use this cell range, let me copy the range. Let me just copy the range that I'm going to use to determine the total sale days for January. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. In the name box B31, I'm going to insert a function. I will use the today function because I wanted the number of days. I wanted the number of something. And if you can check the range B4 through B30, it contains words. So to find the number of something that is in a cell that contain words or anything. If it's not numbers, you use the counter function. It's equal to counter, open parenthesis, paste in the range B4 through B8, close parenthesis, then tab. You can see it displayed 27. Let's go back to the instruction. In cell E31, what were the total number of distributed flyers for January? Insert the function to display the answer to this question. Here we are going to use the sum function. We are going to use the sum function in cell E31, but I'm going to use the shortcut for it. You hold Alt on your keyboard, you press equal to, it will select until the last, from the first until the last, as long as it contains numbers. If you can check, it has only selected the one that has numbers until the last one. So tab, let's go to the next instruction. It says in cell G31, determine the total sales made for January by using a function. Still, we are going to use the sum function. Alt equal to tab. In here also we are going to use the sum function. Use a function to display the total revenue generated for the month January. Okay, let's go back to it. It's equal to, you can just type it if you want to, H4, but it will take time if you are using the sum function. H4 through H8, then tab. Okay, it's fine. Let's go to the next instruction. It says in cell K8, determine the most distributed flyers for the month of February by using a function. Let's go to cell K8. In the name box, quickly type K8. What does the instruction says? Use determine the most distributed flyers for the month of February by using a function. Take note of the instruction. It says the most distributed flyers for the month of February by using a function. Okay, let's go to the worksheet. We are going to use the max function. Whenever you see an instruction says determine the most, just know that you are using the max function. It's max, open parenthesis. Let's go to the sales of February, and we are determining the most flyers, of which will be this ones, until you select until the last, then enter the lowest rainfall. Let's go to the instructions. It says in cell K9, use a function that will display the lowest January rainfall. Take note of the months. It says February here it says January. Let's go back to it. It's equal to the mean. Whenever you see the lowest, most, just know it's max. For lowest, it's mean. Minimum rainfall for January. These are sales for January. So the rainfall for January, you select until the last one of it, then enter. Okay, let's go to the next instruction. It says in cell K10, the average March temperature must be determined. Check the month is for March. Temperature must be determined by using a function. Format the value to a number with 0 decimal places. Okay, let's quickly go to it. Whenever you see an instruction saying average, it's just average, but then you have to select the correct things. Sales for March, average temperature. So select until the last. Okay, when you get to the last, hold Control, press enter. Why? Because I want to keep that cell selected. If I can go back to it, you will see that the K10 is still selected. So under number group, press on number and reduce the number of decimal to 0. Then now it's 10. Let's go to the next. The next instruction, it says in K11, use a formula to show the total January revenue that was already calculated. Again, take note of the month. Now we are going to focus on the sales for January. Use a formula to show the total January revenue that was already calculated in this worksheet. If you remember, on January, we calculated the revenue in cell H31. The instruction was saying determine the total revenue by using a function. So in cell K11, they say determine what has already been calculated, of which we calculated it in H31. I'm going to say equal to H31, then enter. It will display what is inside H31. Let's go to the next instruction. It says 27 says page, 28 says page, 29 says footer. Whenever you see such instructions where you are supposed to make changes on the page or insert a footer or a header, you go to the page layout tab. So let's go to the page layout tab. Page layout, click on print titles. You'll open a menu. Let's go to the instruction. It says change the orientation of the worksheet to landscape. Set the page to print with guide lines. So sheet, print, guide lines. Go to page, layout, landscape. Next instruction. It says set the page margins 1 centimeter top and 1.2 centimeter bottom. Let's go back to it. Under margins, 1 centimeter top, 1.2 centimeter bottom. 1.2 centimeter bottom. Let's go back to the instruction. It says set the page setup to fit all columns on one page. On page, press on fit to. Go back to the instruction. It says insert a footer, left section, insert date, right section, type a student number. Go back to the spreadsheet under header and footer, custom footer. Left section, what did they say you must insert? Insert date. Insert date. So just look for date here. You see insert date under left section. Let's go to the instruction again. Right section, type your student number. So we go to the right section and then you type in your student number. Then okay, we are done with this one. And in the next video, I'll make changes on worksheet sheet 1. And it is also important for you to check on the next video. And when you're done, you can press OK. So let's quickly make a review on what we are supposed to do. We are going to adjust the column. We are going to adjust the row, the column width, the row height. We are going to format the entry to a currency value with 0 decimal places, format the value to an accounting 2 decimal places with R symbol, match the cells, use a formula. We're going to make use of a formula, use a formula to display the total flyers, use a formula, use a formula, use a function, use a function, use a formula, set the following printing options, insert a header, insert a footer, both the values in the range. This is what we are going to do. And you can see that this project is marked out of 20 marks. Save and close the completed start file. Do not to change the start file name. Do not change the start file name. I believe that's what they wanted to say. Students working in NMU Computer Lab, save to home drive, network storage drive. Students working at home, save to documents folder on computer or where you have created the storage area folder for this project. Click on the home button in Smart before uploading. Upload only the completed start file in Smart. Okay, this are notes for you, of which I believe you should read it or you should read them yourself. So yeah, please don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe, and also like the video if you like it. The next video will be on changes on sheet 1, and then the next one following it will be on the project 2, and we'll also make a video on project 3. We'll also make a video on project 4 and also project 5, of which I believe if you can follow through, you'll be able to know what is expected from you in a Excel test, of which I believe it is not difficult. It just need ample time Thank you very much for your time.